Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are embarking on a journey to a country with a really remarkable reputation, Cameroon. It's often called Africa in miniature, and we've got a listener's travel guide here that we're going to dig into to understand why.
Yeah, that nickname it's intriguing right from the start, isn't it? The material you've got, it really paints a picture of a country that somehow packs in just an incredible spectrum of what Africa offers, all within its own borders.
Okay, let's dive in then. Our mission really is to unpack this whole Africa in miniature idea and explore the key places, the experiences, basically what makes Cameroon such a unique destination if you're looking for, a broad taste of the continent.
Should be fascinating.
Yeah, get ready to discover a seriously vibrant place.
Well, what's interesting is how the guide explains why that nickname fits. It's not just, say, one or two things that stand out. It's the combination, this vast diversity across landscapes, wildlife, cultures, even languages. It really is like a condensed version of the entire continent's story, geographically and culturally.
Exactly. And I mean, when you look at the geography alone, it's kind of staggering. The guide points out everything from, hot coastal beaches,
the classic tropical coast,
right through dense equatorial rainforests, then climbing up into cooler highlands, stretching into drier savannas, and even reaching these sort of semi-arid, almost desert-like conditions way up north.
And volcanoes.
And active volcanoes. Let's not forget those. That kind of range in just one country, it's pretty rare.
And that dramatic shift in terrain, well, it naturally supports incredible biodiversity. The material notes Cameroon is a sanctuary for some of Africa's really rare species.
Like what specifically?
Well, think forest elephants, chimpanzees, lowland gorillas, wildlife you typically associate with deep, undisturbed rainforest. So having those alongside animals you might see on a more classic savanna safari, plus unique mountain species, it just highlights the sheer ecological variety.
Here's where it gets really compelling for me, though. The human side of things.
Ah, yes. The cultures.
The guide mentions over 250 ethnic groups call Cameroon home.
Incredible.
Speaking just as many languages? I mean, that's not just a number, right? It represents this unbelievable depth and variety of traditions, music, art, cuisine.
Imagine the different identities, the histories, all coexisting.
Yeah.
It does raise a big question, though. What does that level of cultural and linguistic diversity actually feel like when you're there? The guide suggests it contributes to a really authentic travel experience. It describes it as less commercialized, offering genuine chances for cultural immersion.
Because you're stepping into these hundreds of unique local realities.
Precisely. It's not just one monolithic culture.
It sounds like a place that just keeps surprising you. Plus, the guide positions it as this great spot for adventure and ecotourism.
Yeah.
Perfect for hiking, climbing those volcanoes, exploring the ecosystems.
It really does seem designed to offer a bit of everything.
So it's that concentration then. The diverse elements, dramatic nature, the mosaic of cultures, the rare wildlife.
That allows it to live up to the nickname? Yeah. You get a significant sample of many different African environments and ways of life without ever leaving the country. It offers a kind of beginner's guide, maybe, to the continent's complexity.
Okay, so if you're intrigued by this Africa in miniature idea, and you're thinking, right, where should I actually go? What does this guide suggest? What are some of the standout spots?
Well, the material highlights several key places, and each one seems to embody a different aspect of Cameroon's diversity. Let's maybe start with its most dominant natural feature, Mount Cameroon.
Also called Fako Mountain.
That's the one, Fako Mountain.
The active volcano near the coast. Okay, the guide says it's in the southwest region, just towering over everything. 4,040 meters.
Highest peak in Central and West Africa.
Wow. Okay. And it's described as a huge draw for hikers, climbers. It even hosts that famous race, the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope.
Right. You can imagine standing at the base, just getting that sense of the raw power of the land.
Definitely.
So from that kind of challenging volcanic high point, picture a complete shift. Kribi, down in the south region.
Ah, Kribi. This is painted as Cameroon's, definitive beach paradise.
Exactly. White sand beaches.
Yes. The guide is very clear on the white sand. And the highlight has to be the Lobe waterfalls, right?
Unique. Plunging directly into the Atlantic Ocean. You don't see that every day.
No kidding. Sounds like the place to unwind, swim, maybe enjoy some amazing fresh seafood.
A perfect example of the country's contrasts volcano slopes to tropical beaches. Now, moving just a bit up the coast, the guide also points to Limbe, also southwest region.
Limbe, okay, so another coastal town, but different.
Yeah, a different vibe. It's known for its black sand beaches.
Black sand, right, volcanic.
Exactly. But what really stands out in the description are the botanical gardens there, apparently quite extensive, and the Lim Wildlife Center.
Oh, what do they do there?
Crucial work, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Rescuing and rehabilitating endangered primates. So you get that natural beauty combined with a real focus on conservation, education.
Nice blend. Nature and learning.
Okay, let's shift gears completely now. Head way up north. You find Waza National Park.
Waza. Now, this sounds like where you get that classic savanna wildlife experience.
That's right. Lions, elephants, giraffes, various antelopes.
Hundreds of bird species, too, it says.
Yep. The guide calls it one of the most famous parks in Central Africa and notes the best time to visit is the dry season, November to June, for prime wildlife viewing. Makes sense.
Okay, logical. Now, heading inland, northwest region, the guide highlights Bamenda.
Ah, Bamenda, the cultural highlands.
Right. The description emphasizes the hilly landscapes, the scenic views. But more importantly, it's noted as a region really rich in traditional villages, historical sites.
Sounds like the place to go if you want to explore traditional ways of life, maybe find some authentic local crafts.
Yeah, immerse yourself a bit.
And for a really deep dive into art, history, and a specific cultural heritage, Foumban seems to be a must-see. That's in the West region.
Foumban. Famous for its Islamic architecture, isn't it?
That's what the guide says. The royal palace there, with its museum, is a major point of interest.
And the art scene.
Very vibrant, apparently. With a local artisans market, that sounds fantastic. A great place to see the creativity that comes out of that region's diverse cultural background.
Okay, covering a lot of ground here. Finally, the guide touches on the country's two main cities.
Right. Yaoundé, the political capital, and Douala, the economic hub.
Yaoundé first. Central region. Described as quite green, built across hills.
That's pleasant.
Yeah. Home to important national institutions, cultural centers, museums, like the National Museum or the Mbog-Betsy Zoo, and the main international airport in Similin is there.
Got it. And then Douala.
Douala's in the littoral region. It's the biggest city, the economic engine, characterized as lively, cosmopolitan.
Bustling.
Definitely. And it has the country's busiest international airport. So for many international visitors, Douala is the starting point.
Right, where the journey begins, plunging you straight into urban African life before you head out to see the miniature continent.
So putting it all together, you've got these towering, active volcanoes, dense rainforests,
juxtaposed with white and black sand beaches.
Stretching up through highlands, savannas to semi-arid zones.
All while being home to incredible wildlife and, over 250 distinct cultures and languages.
Yeah. And anchored by these major cosmopolitan cities. I mean, it's suddenly easy to see how that African miniature label isn't just, clever marketing.
No, it feels descriptive. It reflects the sheer breadth of experience packed into one nation.
If we connect this back to the bigger picture, understanding these different regions, what they offer, it helps you really grasp the concept, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's the rapid shifts, the coexistence of all these elements that creates that unique Cameroonian experience the guide talks about.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's quickly touch on practical stuff. This guide gives some info for anyone actually thinking about making the trip. Best time to visit.
The guide's pretty clear. The dry season, that runs roughly November to February.
Why then specifically?
Well, it's best if your focus is wildlife safaris, like in Waza or hiking Mount Cameroon. Conditions are just less challenging than during the rainy season. Roads are better, visibility.
Makes sense. And getting around once you're there, how do people travel?
According to the material, you've got a few options. Domestic flights connect some major cities, which is obviously faster.
Okay.
Car rentals offer flexibility, but be prepared. Roads can range dramatically, from good highways to some pretty rugged terrain.
Good to know. And public transport?
Yeah, shared taxis and buses are apparently very common. Part of the local experience, really.
Right. Any final essential travel tips from the guide? Just the must-knows.
Yeah, a few key things. Visas. Most international travelers need one. Plan ahead. Apply in advance.
Crucial.
Health. Yellow fever vaccination is mandatory. You'll need proof. And malaria precautions are strongly advised.
No.
Very important.
Got it. Currency.
Central African CFA franc, XAF.
And languages. We mentioned the diversity.
Right. French and English are the official languages, so you'll encounter those in administration, big cities. But yeah, be ready for that incredible tapestry of over 250 local dialects spoken across the country.
So what's the takeaway here? Based on this deep dive into the source material, Cameroon really does seem to offer this compressed yet rich and authentic vision of Africa.
Its immense natural beauty, but maybe especially its profound cultural and ecological diversity, it really positions it as an emerging gem, especially for travelers seeking something wide-ranging, immersive, which, raises a fascinating final thought, doesn't it? Given this incredible range we've discussed, active volcanoes, rainforests, savannas, deserts, hundreds of cultures all in one country.
Yeah.
What does Cameroon, being Africa in miniature, truly reveal about the scale, the sheer depth of diversity that exists across the rest of the continent?
Good question.
What does it suggest about the unique challenges, maybe, but also the profound rewards of experiencing such vast variety condensed into a single journey?
Wow. That is definitely something to chew on, a truly fascinating thought to leave with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Cameroon.